Please, just add something. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for showing up to this video. This week we're talking about, or this day, really, because I released a video yesterday, I think. We're gonna talk about controversial horror movie opinions that I personally have. Now, this is not gonna be a, this is gonna be broken up into 3 categories, and we're only doing 3 opinions today because I want to do more videos like this in the future, so I'm not gonna go over every single controversial opinion I have. But we are gonna talk about, the 3 categories we're splitting them into is firstly, the beginner horror movie fan, what would be controversial in that community, the middle horror movie, the middle level, I guess, I don't know, horror movie fan, and what would be controversial in that community, and then finally the expert horror movie fan, and what would be controversial in that community. I don't claim to be an expert, but I think I know the experts well enough that I that I know what would probably be a little interesting to them. And really, when it comes to the expert category, you have so many different types of people that really it's hard to find a controversial, but I think my most controversial opinion will be shared at the end of this video. Anyways, so for the beginners, my favorite decade of horror is the 50s. I know many people who can't stand 50s horror movies or any movie freaking before the 2000s. I don't know why. I think like some people say they have a problem with black and white and they find it frustrating and not as stimulating. That's never been a problem for me. I like it just the most. I think honestly, of course, 80s is a great series, a great decade for horror. And all of my favorite horror movies, for the most part, come from that decade. But I don't have to, when I'm in the mood for 80s, 80s is my favorite decade. But I don't have to be in the mood for the 50s to enjoy it. And I think that's the big thing about them. And most consistently, like, you have a lot of like bad movies, but they're still like they're still watchable, I think. Whereas in the 80s, if it's a really bad movie, it can be the worst movie of all time, i.e. Things. So yeah, 50s is my favorite decade of horror. That is my controversial opinion for the beginners. Middle level expert, or well, I do know how to speak English, believe it or not. Middle level horror movie fans. My controversial opinion is the scariest movie of all time is Blair Witch. Now, I know some people do agree with me on that. A lot of people do. In the expert category, I would say. Stephen King thinks it's horrifying, so that goes to say something. Books and movies are 2 different things. So there's that. But I do think Blair Witch is the scariest movie of all time. And I know a lot of people, I show it to them and they don't think it's scary at all. I've seen it so many times, and it's always just as unsettling as it was the first time. There's no jump scares, which I think is what a lot of beginner horror movie fans look for to see if a movie's scary or not. There's no really jump scares in that movie. It's just creepy and unsettling. And it does the best job out of any of them. It's not a perfect movie, but it makes me nervous to walk home at night, and more so than any other movie. Okay, finally, my expert opinion, my expert controversial opinion is Friday the 13th is the best horror franchise out of them all. And that includes The Evil Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, the Saw series, the Insidious series, definitely the Conjuring series, definitely, I think, is there more than one Nun movie? Well, I haven't seen them, so I guess I can't count that. But probably better than that one. Yeah. And then I mean, the Phantasm series, I haven't finished it yet, but it is really good so far. But the thing about the Friday the 13th series, it has 3 movies that aren't perfect. One that's bad, like the remake is bad. But and 7 and 8 aren't that great either, in my opinion. But the rest are all fantastic movies that are so rewatchable. In fact, I'm watching the first one tonight. Whoa, little inside scoop. I think the reason why they're so good is just because they're simple, they're fun, and they're not pretentious. They're trashy, but not like they have a good balance of not trying to be exploitation, really. Except for kind of the 5th one, but I like the 5th one a lot because of the trashiness. Except for there's not a lot of gore, which is weird to me. That there's nudity but not gore in that one. Anyways, yeah. I never know how to end a video, so I guess I'll end by saying I've seen it so many